Let's be honest for a moment. Cheating doesn't arrive like a thunderbolt. It doesn't explode overnight. It doesn't announce itself. It slips in quietly like smoke through a cracked window. Slow, almost invisible. But by the time you notice it, it's already changed the air you're breathing. And here's something most men are never told. When a woman cheats emotionally or physically, it's never clean. It never leaves without a trace. It leaves fingerprints on your routine, on your peace, on that subtle feeling in your gut that tells you something isn't right. Most men feel those signs, but they explain them away. Not because they're weak, not because they're naive, but because accepting the truth would force a decision they're not ready to make. And deep down, you know that. This video isn't about paranoia, it's about patterns. If you've ever felt that quiet pressure in your chest, that moment where everything looks normal but feels wrong, that thought you don't say out loud, she's still here, but she's slipping, then this is for you. Let's walk through the signs calmly, clearly, without drama. Sign 1, she disconnects, but keeps smiling. This is where it usually begins. She doesn't leave. She doesn't start fights. She doesn't make a scene. She stays. And that's what makes it confusing. You still see her every day. She still says good morning, but she doesn't really look at you anymore. You ask how she's doing. She says, I'm fine. Not as a feeling, as a reflex. And there's a shift, a quiet one. Men who are observant feel it immediately. She's physically present, but her energy is somewhere else. The laughter you used to share now feels rehearsed. The eye contact is shorter, guarded, empty. You make a joke. She smiles, but not with her eyes, not with her body, not with that warmth that used to pull you in. It's the smile you give a stranger in an elevator. She says she's tired. Work has been stressful. She needs space. And sometimes those things are true, but sometimes those words aren't meant to connect. They're meant to buy time. And you feel that difference not because you're emotional, but because you're paying attention. A grounded man doesn't ignore patterns just because they're uncomfortable. He doesn't need proof. He listens to what isn't being said. And what's happening here is simple. She has already started to detach, not loudly, not dramatically, quietly, in a way that turns intimacy into routine, presence into performance. Because when a woman is investing emotionally somewhere else, she has to ration what's left for you. Just enough affection to keep things normal, just enough warmth to avoid questions, just enough connection so you don't leave first. You're not insecure for noticing this. You're not crazy. You're witnessing the slow erosion of intimacy. And if you stay silent long enough, you don't just lose her. You lose yourself. Sign 2. She starts hiding in plain sight. Nothing explodes. She doesn't slam doors. She doesn't accuse you. She just becomes selectively quiet. You used to know the small things, the annoying coworker, the strange dream, what she ate for lunch. Now her life has compartments, and you're no longer invited into all of them. She still talks, but only when it's convenient, only when the story is safe, only when it doesn't expose anything. Then there's the phone. It used to be just an object left on the table, forgotten on the bed. Now it's always face down, always nearby, always silent. She angles it away when she types. You didn't ask for her password, you didn't accuse her of anything, but somehow she's already defensive. And if you mention it even gently, you're suddenly paranoid, insecure, controlling. But here's something important. Truth doesn't fear observation. If something is clean, it doesn't need to hide. If love is honest, it doesn't live behind locked screens. This isn't about control, it's about contrast. The contrast between who she used to be, open, expressive, transparent, and who she's becoming now. Careful, guarded, selective. That's not growth, that's concealment. And concealment always has a reason. Cheating doesn't start with a kiss, it starts with access being erased. One missing detail, one closed door, one room in a house you used to walk through freely. And the most dangerous part, she wants you to doubt yourself instead of questioning her behavior. Because as long as you argue with your instincts, she never has to explain her choices. Sign 3. Her body is there, but her intimacy isn't. You still share a bed, but it doesn't feel like home anymore. The warmth is gone. The rhythm feels off. There's an invisible distance between you. Some nights she turns away without a word. Other nights she initiates, but it feels forced, too intense, too intentional, almost like she's proving something. And you're left wondering which hurts more, the absence or the affection that doesn't feel meant for you. Here's a truth most men avoid. When a woman is cheating emotionally or physically, intimacy always changes. Sometimes it disappears, sometimes it transforms, but it never stays the same. Because intimacy isn't about frequency, it's about presence. And when presence leaves, your body feels it before your mind does. It feels like touching someone who isn't fully there, like kissing a ghost. And when you mention it, she says you're imagining things, that she's tired, that you're too sensitive. But you're not. You're fluent in the language of connection. And right now, that language has changed. It feels artificial, unnatural, because a woman cannot fully share her body with you while her emotional center is elsewhere. And the longer you pretend nothing has changed, the more you betray your own. Intuition to protect her comfort. A grounded man doesn't do that. He respects the signs, he studies them, and he acts. Sign 4. The arguments don't make sense. Suddenly, everything becomes a problem. You forget to text back. Now you don't care. You leave a dish in the sink. Now you never listen. You answer calmly. Now your tone is wrong. At first you try to fix it. You apologize. You overthink. You replay conversations. But deep down you know this isn't about the dish. It's displacement. She isn't fighting with you. She's fighting her guilt. Because when a woman crosses an emotional line or plans to, she needs distance. And distance often disguises itself as conflict. If you're the problem, then she isn't. If you're cold, distant, careless, then leaving isn't betrayal, it's justification. And if you don't see this, you'll start defending yourself in a war you didn't start. You'll try to fix what wasn't broken. You'll walk on eggshells in your own home. You'll shrink to fit a version of you that excuses her exit. A grounded man doesn't fall for that. He understands that conflict here isn't communication, it's camouflage. And you don't win camouflage by arguing, you win by stepping back. Sign 5. Her future no longer includes you. This one doesn't shout, it whispers. She used to say when we now, she says I. Trips, plans, dreams. Your name quietly disappears. Not because of something you did, but because she's already left in her mind. She isn't asking you to go, she's just making sure you stop feeling at home. When you ask, she tells you you're overthinking, that you're insecure. But people don't imagine leaving unless they've already begun. First emotionally, then mentally, then physically. By the time she speaks, it's not a decision, it's confirmation. And here's the truth, she's not confused, she's rehearsing. Cheating doesn't begin in the bedroom, it begins in silence, in unanswered questions, in smiles that don't reach the eyes, in I'm fine that doesn't feel fine at all. A woman doesn't cheat the day she touches another man. She cheats the day she disconnects from you and chooses not to come back. The signs were there, you just called them phases. But a grounded man doesn't chase illusions. He doesn't beg for space where he's no longer welcome. Because once you sacrifice self-respect to keep someone close, you've already lost more than the relationship you've lost yourself. And here's the last thing to remember. If she had to betray you to find herself, she was never truly yours. If this hit your gut, comment clarity, because clarity isn't pain. It's freedom. And if you're done doubting your instincts, subscribe. We don't chase shadows here. We sharpen awareness.